佐々木朗希投手が新たに加わり、大谷翔平選手が投手として戻ってくるドジャースの先発投手陣。ピッチャー分析家で知られるピッチングニンジャことロブ・フリードマン氏がドジャースネーションの番組に出演し、佐々木朗希投手についてと大谷選手の投手復帰について語っていました。
And you look at this starting rotation, the additions of Blake Snell, the addition of Roki Sasaki. You have Tyler Glass now. Shohei Ohtani's returning. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is a guy that in his first year dealt with some injuries but still showed that ace-level potential. Is this the most talent that you've ever seen in a starting rotation to start a season?
Yes, without a doubt. The depth is incredible. I also think it's the filthiest, just plain old rotation I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it is absolutely stacked, and we're going to start with Roki Sasaki. I mean, you talk to scouts out there, and they say this guy has the stuff to be a number one, to be a true ace. He topped at 102.5 miles per hour a couple years ago, has that nightmare splitter, also has the slider. Scouts don't just throw that out there. A guy is going to be number one. Are you as high as everyone else on Roki Sasaki, though, Rob?
Well, a couple of years ago, we did a poll about who would be a better starting pitcher between Roki Sasaki or Paul Skeens. That was like, two prospects. And I think most folks actually sided with Roki Sasaki on that back in the day. That's who they wanted on their team. So, yeah, I am absolutely high on him. Obviously, Paul Skeens already proved himself at this level. But I will tell you, the velo makes the headlines, but his splitter is going to be one of the filthiest pitches in baseball. May have the highest whiff rate when all is said and done in baseball this year.
Yeah, look at that splitter. I mean, he throws it between 88 and 90 miles per hour. He's got this spin, that the low spin on it. The whiff rate's going to be off the charts. But what is it about that splitter that you think makes it a pitch that's going to just be so special and it's going to be so devastating to big league hitters?
What's really rare about it is he can make it cut. So a lot of, you're used to seeing splitters tail off arm side. He can cut that splitter. It almost looks like a slider or a cutter. In fact, I think in a WBC, they were labeling them cutters and they were splitters. So hitters aren't used to seeing that. And whenever you have an outlier pitch, it takes hitters a long time to adjust to that because they're used to seeing what they're used to seeing. And their approach is to bucketize it, to say, I'm used to seeing this, so this is how I'm going to approach this guy. But when they're seeing something they haven't seen before, it could be a nightmare, especially when you have to then adjust for, 100 plus.
Yeah, and you look at some of the numbers, a 57.1% whiff rate last year for that splitter. Major league average is 34.5%. Of course, big league hitters are big league hitters, but just if anything comes close to that number, it's going to be fun to watch. But in your opinion, what do you think is going to ultimately determine whether or not he translates to the show? Is it adding the third pitch that also is more effective, like having more success with that slider? Is it, of course, health is a factor? He hasn't gone deep into seasons and pitched 180 games, but I mean, with this rotation and going to a six-man rotation, how really important is that? But in your mind, what are you kind of looking for from him to make sure that he really established himself this year in the show?
I'd like his velo to come back to where it was. So, gain a couple more miles an hour back. And I don't think that's going to be tough. Y'all have the best coaches out there and they'll be able to fix him. But then, just adjusting to the major league size baseball, which won't be hard. I mean, he did it in WBC and, didn't lose anything really off his stuff. So I think it's going to be easy for him. I look for command. Command is always the thing that you struggle with. A lot of pressure on somebody because no matter how good you are, you're going to feel pressure being on a team that is a defending world champs with all these guys alongside him. He doesn't want to let them down. But, all that being said, stay injury-free, do what he can do, and he's going to tear it up.
Is he your pick to win the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I was just talking about that yesterday. I think without a doubt, it'd be silly to not say him just because of his experience and stuff. He's as good as anybody that's come over from Japan.
A Rookie of the Year. The headlines just write themselves. Now, you were saying?
I was going to say I came up with a nickname for him because I know he goes by Monster the Reiwa era, which is back, in Japan, but he didn't like it. So I'm going with Roketo, which is rocket in Japan. Can't use rocket because Roger Clemens has that, but Roketo is a cool name and homage to Roger Clemens, but also play on Roki. So that's what I'm going with.
I love that. Hey, man, when we see him during spring training, we'll have to run it by them. Well, of course, you get the trademark on it for sure. He definitely coined the phrase, but I love that nickname. Now, as far as the other addition, Blake Snell. It's almost absurd to think that he's kind of on the back burner of the Dodgers additions right now just because of everything they have on this roster. By the way, he's my pick. We haven't had a no-hitter, Rob. It sounds crazy, but we haven't had a no-hitter in Dodger Blue since that team no-hitter in 2018 with Buehler, Cingrani, Garcia, and Liberatore. He's my pick for the Dodgers' next no-hitter. Would you agree with me, or is there someone else on this rotation that you would have over him for that no-no?
I really couldn't tell you. Every single pitcher on the staff is capable of doing it. And don't forget, I mean, Roki Sasaki basically pitched 2 consecutive perfect games in Japan. He got pulled from the second one after 8 perfect innings back to back. And he could have thrown another one, except his team wasn't in the lead, so they didn't want to risk it. Like, you're talking about a guy who could throw a no-hitter himself. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. It's absurd stuff for Roki. That perfect game. He comes out the next one. He almost does it again. Just unheard of stuff. Now, as far as Shohei Ohtani, I mean, Dodger games are pretty much events at this point. When he takes the mound for the first time at Dodger Stadium in the regular season, it's going to feel like a postseason game. It's going to feel like a World Series game. But what do you think are fair expectations for him coming back after that second major arm surgery? We know how good he is when he's healthy, when he's right, but what do you think are fair expectations? What are you expecting from Shohei on the mound in 2025?
I mean, I would hope he doesn't lose anything. I mean, he's not coming back to just get by. He's coming back to dominate and hold himself to his level. And I don't think people remember as much of, like, that dude can win a Cy Young Award anytime he's on the bump for a full year. His stuff is among the filthiest in baseball. Another guy with a ton of Ks, sweeper, splitter, throwing 100, competitor. Like, if you look at him with runners in scoring position, he doesn't let guys score. You can see it in his face. Whenever he pitches, it's an event on social media, and it will be an event in Dodger Stadium or wherever he pitches, just because you can't take your eyes off that dude when he's on the field.
Did you break down Decoy's pitch for Pitching Ninja?
I did. I did. It was excellent. I mean, it's as good as a dog's going to do.
It's good. He's got to teach Roki's dog Ram how to do it too, with his toy poodle. I need to see that too. Now, he's also made some adjustments too. I mean, you saw less splitter, more sweeper for him. Do you expect that to be more the same for Shohei?
I wouldn't be surprised. So this is a guess. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit more splitters. My guess, and again, I didn't talk to him about this, but I think he switched to a sweep to relying on a sweeper more because of the blister issues he was having. And a splitter can cause blister issues if the grip, because of the unique grip. So my guess is he's going to go back to a little bit more splitter centric, and then he'll probably develop some, a knuckleball or something, just because he feels like it. He can do anything he wants.
Yeah, and then Barry Bonds said recently that his advice for Shohei was to just stay at DH and not pitch again. I'm like, hey, that's what makes him the unicorn. And yes, we know the history of guys after a second major arm surgery. There's a lot of failures as far as not getting back to where they were. Also, the Nathan Eovaldi types guys have had success. My mind is just like, this is Shohei Ohtani. Never bet against that guy. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And anybody, again, people that looked at last year and like, oh, just stay as a hitter, like, you're forgetting this guy is arguably the best pitcher in baseball when he's on. John Smoltz said that. John Smoltz said if he concentrated on pitching, he would be Jacob deGrom. So you're talking about a guy that has incredible potential on the mound. Not only potential, he just is. Like, he is that good. And I guess having a year off, people forgot about it because, he's that dominant at the plate. But, I mean, I am as excited to watch him as anybody on the mound this year.
No, it's kind of insane to think that you just beat the Yankees in the World Series and you might have even more things to be excited about heading into another season if you're a Dodgers fan with Roki, with Shohei.
ローテーションの全員が S クラスであるドジャースの先発投手陣。さすがのロブ・フリードマン氏もこれほどの層は見たことがないとのことでした。佐々木朗希投手についても高く評価しており、新たなニックネームは定着するのでしょうか。大谷選手は今年はどのようなピッチングスタイルで投げるのでしょうか。今シーズンも楽しみな話題で目が離せません。